On the next Empire Report, tonight, the UEE mourns the loss of a young advocacy agent. When Casper Bryant reported for his first day of work, he never thought it would also be his last. How did a normal stop-and-scan procedure go so horribly wrong? Plus an update on the 4 system-wide manhunt.
With more and more companies moving into Aramis, are planet-owned businesses being driven out? Donald Joseph visits with local owners who say that they're being pushed off their own planet.
Today, maverick trillionaire Silas Kerner made his annual appearance at New Austin's Spacecraft and Avionics Show. Is he pushing spaceflight into the future or into a dangerously fast direction? All that and more on the next Empire Report at 2200 SET. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 55 of Around the Verse. I'm Sandy Gardner.
And I'm Ben Lesnick.
1.15 is alive. We pushed the latest build to the public on Friday for all of our backers.
So that's a lot of bug fixes, balance changes. The Merlin and Scythe are now flyable. It's a great patch. Please, I encourage you to check it out.
I saw a few people also joined from QuakeCon, so welcome to all those new people.
And we've already patched the patch. 1.1.5 V2 was hotfixed in on Monday. We're continuing to address some of the other issues that this patch has introduced, and you'll see changes in the coming weeks.
Jason Hutchins and the Star Marine team put out another weekly status update walking through progress and blockers. This week's update included some cool video.
Let's take a look.
And in case you missed it, Lee Banyard and the rest of our fantastic audio team in the UK put together a comm link on the new Wwise audio system, complete with cool samples.
Let's take a listen.
That was our quantum drive.
Very cool. That's the first time I heard it.
We also stopped work for a few minutes to take team photos at each of the CIG studios. Check them out.
Santa Monica!
Yay, Austin!
Manchester!
Frankfurt!
Hooray!
Yay.
Everybody's shaking their heads at
Yeah,
us right
because
now.
nobody, that's not even going to be in it, so it doesn't matter.
I have a feeling this will be it.
Okay, go.
And Chris Roberts kicked off a new video segment, which we're calling Game Commander, intended to kind of show you what he actually does here at Cloud Imperium. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised just how much coding he does in addition to management and everything else that happens on Star Citizen.
And it really doesn't take us long to film, folks, so do not worry. We are not taking time away from Chris getting the game done.
It was actually her idea, by the way. She wanted to show, she saw him coding and wanted to show it off. So.
Now the team is getting pumped for Gamescom, and the air here in Santa Monica is quite electric. It's all, it's all hands on deck at all our studios. So let's check in with the studios and see what's going on.
Ticket Spectrum.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Santa Monica. You are here with Eric Kyron Davis and
Darian Landis-Vorlik.
Landis. All right. We've got a few updates for you. We have a lot of work going on in this studio right now. Everyone is really knocking it out of the park and doing some great stuff. A couple updates we have for you is we're working on the glaive. That's a big one for us.
It's pretty.
It's really pretty, and we're excited to get that one again. Like I always say, get that out there for you guys to play with. Concepts. We're doing a lot of character concepts. We're trying to get that pipeline going and rocking and rolling. We've talked about that a few times over the weeks.
And that's Jeremiah.
Jeremiah Lee, yep, and Kelton Cram and Rob McKinnon has been just, they've been doing a great job. Megan out in ATX. And
I love Jeremiah's work. It's just gorgeous.
It's fantastic. And that is my update.
So we kind of make up for lost updates since our last couple too have been pretty sparse. So we've been hammering away at Gamescom. So without revealing too much, just want to say that when you guys see what we have in store for you, it's going to blow your guys' mind. Another kind of a cool feature of that is our AI programmer, Chad Zamzo. He has been working on adapting the AI to fly larger ships. Right now, the AI is adapted for fitting the smaller ships, such as the Hornet or the M50, or even the Vandal side. So, flight characteristics for the AI on a larger ship is going to be much different. So it's not going to yaw and pitch and roll the same way. So right now, he's working on trying to adapt the AI to be able to handle a much larger spacecraft size, for not just for multiplayer games, but for also when you want to take on. When we have Pirate Swarm, when you take on larger ships. So we want to make sure that these larger ships can handle correctly as if an actual human was actually piloting it. So he's kind of slaving away. Really intelligent man that just comes up with stuff. I have no idea what
It's like magic.
I think he is an AI.
I think he is an AI. Yep.
So I think that's all we got for our end.
Yeah, that's going to be it from Santa Monica again. I'm Eric Kyron Davis.
And I'm Darian Landis-Vorlik.
All right, talk to you soon.
Hey guys, Dave Langoliers, lead producer here at Alphonic. So this week, got a couple things for you guys. We've been working on cleaning up the netcode and player prediction. So this is something that's been ongoing, but we made some pretty good strides this week to reducing the lag, so that when we have games full with all max players, then we're not getting a lot of lag and a lot of players teleporting around the level anymore. So that's been fixed up. We also mocked up some hit indicators, so you can tell what direction the shots are coming from. So that's just the circle in the middle of the screen. You have a little hit indicator that's coming around. Chris had some specific feedback that he wanted on those hit indicators and how they wanted them to function. So we implemented that feedback into the mock-ups that we've been doing. That mock-up work has been sent over to the HUD team now, and they're implementing it. Lastly, we've just been fixing a ton of bugs. So we're pretty much past the point of working on features now and just going into bug fixing mode. And so there's quite a few bugs we're still addressing. There's a lot of bugs with gadgets. Recently, one of the requested changes that was made was having gadgets be more of a toss instead of a place, similar to how you might see in like Battlefield. And because that change was made, there's some issues associated with it that we're working through. So that's about all I have for you guys this week. And yeah, have a good Gamescom and talk to you next week.
Hey guys, Jake Ross here, Associate Producer of the Versus Universe, and here this week I have
Ken Fairclough, Associate Concept Artist.
And here with you this week to talk a little bit about what the concept team's been working on. We can kind of give in PU social module updates the past few weeks, so I just want to give you a brief update on what we got going a little later on down the pipe. So we have our Ted Bergeron working on a style guide for Microtech. Microtech is pretty interesting because it has elements of low-tech architecture as well as kind of these elements of metaclassicism, that we're calling it. So it's kind of a little bit of fancy mixed in with a little bit of not so fancy. So we kind of want Ted to flesh that out a little bit so we can know going forward what it's going to be like. We also have Megan working on clothing line concept art for the Terra Fashion Casual clothing line is what we're calling it. So the residents of the Terra-influenced sphere of the galaxy will be wearing Terra-influenced clothing. So this is kind of their casual wear. Is what we're calling it. So, Ken, why don't you talk a little bit about what you've been working on?
So I've been working on the Nix market, which has gone through a few different iterations of designs. And what we've come up with is essentially this new way of shopping where the market will actually be, rather than shops, will be these mobile carts and stuff like that that won't actually be moving, but are supposed to give like the kind of the feel that it looks almost like a farmer's market and stuff like that. And the purpose of that was for pretty much any angle you approach this, you see the bustle and all the activity of like NPCs and player activities and all the different transactions in between. Purchases and stuff like that, so we wanted to make sure that any way you enter that room, it looks really cool and you see all that kind of activity and stuff like that. So it's coming along really cool, it looks really cool, it was a lot of fun, so yeah, I can't wait for you guys to check it out. It's coming along really nicely.
Yeah. So when you guys visit the Levski landing zone in the Nix system, you'll be able to kind of experience the shopping experience a little bit different than what you've experienced before in previous kind of shopping experiences we've shown. So
yeah, it's definitely a unique version, unique take on like the whole game marketplace kind of thing. So.
Yeah, pretty cool. All right, that's all we got for you this week, guys. See you next time. Thanks.
Hey y'all, Mike here once again from Foundry 42, bringing you a little update about little things that we've been working on lately. And with me today is...
I'm Matt Webster, I'm a project coordinator here at the studio.
In other words, Whipcracker follows all of us around, making sure that we, work.
I don't actually have a whip.
He does. But anyway, we've been really busy here lately. Obviously the big thing for us has been the release of the 1.1.5 patch, which has brought a lot of new balance changes, a lot of bug fixes. And to be fair, we've been having a hell of a lot of fun messing around with that. The game feels a lot tighter than it did before. The balance seems to be a lot more, balanced. I mean,
that's
usually. But yeah, all the feedback you guys have been sending us has been really helpful. We've been having a great time looking at it. We've been going through each message painstakingly so in order to basically collate all that information and pass that on to the necessary people. So keep it coming. It's all good. Is there anything you'd like to tell the guys?
Yeah, I mean, also with the 1.1.5 patch that you were just talking about, that was actually our first one for using the new audio middleware software, which is Wwise, which has been a long process, about a year or so in the making, roughly. So it's great that we can finally share it with you guys to hear the difference. I've seen a couple of YouTube videos already of people going, look, I want to point out, the game's really, really cool, but you've got to listen to what this door sounds like. It is ace with this new audio software. It does give us a lot more tools, and the guys downstairs are really looking forward to doing a lot more with it. Obviously, that's our first implementation of it, so we're going to continue tweaking. We're going to be doing lots of bits here and there, a little bit like the dev guys outside do some balance passes. We're going to be doing the same sorts of things on an audio perspective for Wwise. So yeah,
excellent stuff.
A lot of work going on down here.
Well, truly. And speaking of which, we are incredibly busy today, so we're going to keep it short and sweet. So we'll see you all around the verse.
See you later, guys.
Thank you to our studios from around the world.
Calix Renault and Matt Sherman are back to talk about balance.
Hi everybody, I'm Matt Sherman, technical designer here at CIG in Santa Monica.
I'm Calix Renault, technical designer. Welcome to another episode of Balancing our Arena Commander and Star Citizen.
Spinning all the plates.
Yeah, so we've recently done an update that, we wanted to do a big balance pass to sort of, to change everything.
Another big thing that we really wanted to address that a lot of people in the community had brought up was before the patch, time to kill was really short. A lot of cases you would see 3 to 10 second fights with another ship when you get all your guns brought on them. And that was a bit too quick. So our target right now is somewhere around a minute to a minute and a half for most people in a firefight. And it really looks like we're hitting that mark. But something to keep in mind with that, like both with making flight have more consequence, raising health on shields and ships, but also damage on weapons. If you get a couple of ace pilots fighting each other, those fights can definitely go on for a while. I think we've seen some 5 even to 9 minute fights where it's a few just really top tier pilots going at each other. And while it's a little bit long, that's definitely the way we want to go, where if it's high skill against high skill, it shouldn't be instant death. It should be this really meaty, meaningful fight that win or lose at the end, you're going to feel really good for just having participated in that fight.
Yeah, the longer engagements mean that you have more time to accumulate wear and tear, and you have more opportunities to disengage, to decide that, okay, maybe I don't feel like dying today. And that couples together with, like you were saying about the, we've updated our weapons so that each size brings along a much stronger increase in damage potential. Yep. This helps make fixed weapons be more of a choice. A lot of people feel that fixed weapons versus gimbals is a question of controller preference, but I don't personally think that's true. But whether or not it is, it's not the issue until the mechanic itself is a meaningful point of play. Like if I always choose gimbal, then I haven't really made a choice. And if I always choose fixed, then I haven't really made a choice. And having these two things side by side but not interacting really reduces the texture of the game. And so adding in that weight has been important for getting fixed and gimbal weapons to sit side by side at the table. And then what that means for controller is something that we deal with after. And that's sort of one of the reasons why when we do talk about controllers, just to digress for a split second, that we want to get the game up to a point where it provides the context for what we need. So having fixed versus gimbals matter just in general is part of that. And that ties into the things that we're doing with shields as well.
Yeah. So one of the initial changes that we were just making was raising the health on shields, but one of the consequences that we sort of found in our initial testing was, hey, the recharge rate and just how much health it's getting when it comes back online, that was way too fast. And it was making taking out a shield a more constant thing and not something where it's like, all right, cool, I've taken out their shield, I've got this window where I can really just put some damage on their hull and try and take out their ship. And so we've really lowered those times, or we've
increased the time
Yeah.
so that it takes a much longer amount of time not getting hit at all in order to get your shields back.
Yeah, and we've lowered the rate that you get health back into your shields.
I think those were actually nearly not changed, but because the health values changed so drastically,
Yeah.
it's like cutting it in half.
Yeah, it's a net loss because we bumped other things up. Similar to how, with our weapons, where it's like, well, yeah, we raised health and damage, but we still inflated time to kill enough by not letting one overtake the other.
One of the other big changes was the Joker Sucker Punch, which had committed the ultimate sin of being uninteresting.
Yeah.
So in order to make it a bit more remarkable, a bit more filling in for an actual gameplay role, we drastically increased the disruption damage that it does. Disruption damage affects your power pipes, so it takes down shields quickly. Probably has among the highest damage that you could do to shields, but then won't do actual hull damage. It will, however, disrupt the transfer of power between systems. So some players have even begun to notice that you can disrupt other players' maneuverability with the use of the sucker punch if you're able to get them.
If you hit the right spots, you can totally just, I'm going to shut down your thrusters, especially if you see someone with a lot of energy weapons. If you're running sucker punches, they're not going to be able to recharge those guns if you're hitting them with distortion constantly. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Again, I'm Matt Sherman here in LA.
And I'm Calix.
He's not.
Back to you guys.
The new component system is a complete overhaul of what we've done before. It's going to vastly improve both the existing ships and everything else going forward.
And James had the chance to sit down with the last of our Austin visitors, Josh Coons. Take it away, James.
Thanks, guys. They were 3D modeler Josh Coons. Josh, how you doing, man?
Doing good.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you out here from Austin.
It's good to be here.
So I heard you've been working on a ship. I heard it's called the Connie.
Working on the Connie for a good bit now. It's my second job. My first job is I work for CIG, and my second job is I work on the Connie. She's all that I got.
She's your everything?
Yeah.
She's your one and only?
She's my one and only. Yeah.
So how long have we been remodeling the Constellation?
February?
February?
I think. Yeah, February is when we started, winding up the war machine, getting ready to go.
What was the impetus to remodel the Connie as opposed to other ships?
There were a couple things that just weren't caught up at the time, so there were a couple things missing that we needed. We had a beautiful ship that came out called the Retaliator, and I fell in love with that ship, and I wanted all the ships to look like that. So quality bar set and match it now. So that's been the main drive, is getting a more focused style to it, making RSI feel like, a company, and the ships all feel like they came from the same manufacturer, and they have a purpose and a specific demographic, and they fit in the world, and also making stuff, simply just look really cool, and cool keeps me in the game, and keeping me in the game is immersion. So that's what I like. That's what I go for.
So cool equals immersion.
I don't want to get distracted by anything other than playing a sweet game.
What is something specifically, because you're doing the exterior, correct?
Yeah, currently. Exterior, and then me and Chris will sync our files up, flip-flop. So some of the things that you can visually see on the exterior are actually part of the interior, so we have to work in tandem to make sure that everything lines up, that his interior walls aren't clipping to the exterior, and making sure that everything's completely solid.
So if you go by the original model to what we have now, what is one thing you really, really wanted to change that you got to?
When I first looked at it, when it comes to the nerdy side of modeling, which is hardcore geometry and stuff like that. There are certain faces on the model that were improper, and what that is a square is actually 2 triangles, and it makes a flat face, and that's going to reflect light a certain way, but certain angles look like that, which I call a folding square.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't light very well, so fixing that was proper. And then there were a lot of polygons that just weren't visible, so that means I can delete them and put them somewhere that are visible, which makes it cheaper and also makes it more high fidelity, more detail. Just wanted to bump it up, just take it to the next level, next bar.
So besides the Connie, what else have you been working on recently?
Sometimes in a pinch, I'll get pulled for specific tasks. I did recently, I did the helmet interior, trying to refine getting those done in a quick fashion, having them look good, and having them match the exterior face of the helmet that they are attached to. So I did I believe it was the full Outlaw set, and I did the full Marine set for the FPS. Was it the last FPS demo? And currently. Before that, I did the buggy skins.
Cool.
With a new paint tech that we were working on in-house. I think we might actually do it another way now, an even better way.
What's this new better way?
Well, the problem that we were having is, I'm sure everybody's seen the new awesome damage state system, which is, I work here, and I just see it, and
still looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm spoiled by it.
Yeah, for sure.
So once that came online, that solved the problem for us, which was before we had to do all the damage states by hand, placing greebles and breaking out the pieces. So you do that for a ship, let's say the Hornet, a regular Hornet. You do it once, and then it's like, okay, we need a variant, and then you do the variant, and the paint would be just more geometry on top of that, which means you have to go through all the damage states, and you got to cut them all out, and it was compounding the work. But now that we have this shader generated damage state system, we don't have to worry about that anymore. So faster and faster. As the tools come online, the ships can be done faster and faster, which is always good news for me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Actually, we look forward to seeing the Connie and some other things you're working on.
Yeah, me too, man.
All right, back to you guys.
Let's check in with Lisa Ohanian for this week's episode of Ship Shape.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Ship Shape. This week we're going to be talking about the Vanguard. Now the Vanguard is one of the premier deep space fighters and is manufactured by Aegis Dynamics. This ship is a powerhouse. It is very strong, very thick armor, and it also has great survivability, lots of room for fuel, lots of room for ammo. Because of all of these features and its power and the heavy armor, it does trade a little bit for maneuverability, but given that it can travel the distance of a star system without having to refuel, it's a pretty decent trade-off. For this reason, this ship is favored by the UEE Navy and lots of militias. For the past month or so, we've had one of our concept artists, Gurmukh, working on fleshing out the interior of this ship. In preparing for this episode, I reached out to ask him what some of his favorite aspects were of working on the Vanguard, some of the big challenges. And right away, he told me his two favorite things were working on the seats and the escape pods. Now, the chairs on this ship are actually really cool. They're kind of similar to the Retaliator, since they're both Aegis ships. But the unique thing about the seats on the Vanguard is that they slide into place in a really interesting way. Now this ship is a two-seater, it happens for both of them. The first seat is the pilot and the second is for the operator. The operator is stationed at the top of the ship, and they have access to the turret up there, any missile systems that might be equipped on the Vanguard at the time, and an advanced sensor suite. The advanced sensor suite is really helpful for detection. It would give the ship an advantage in an asteroid field, for example. Another interesting feature on the ship is the escape pod. Now, this is a heavily armored deep space escape pod located at the center of the ship. This escape pod can fit up to 2 people and has a variety of features for increased survivability, such as a radar system, hibernation pods, a very advanced life support system, and the ability to spoof a kill on the radars of many other ships. So, if you're in this escape pod to begin with, it gives you an increased chance of getting away from your enemies. One of my favorite features about the ship is the crawl spaces. There are a lot of crawl spaces back to where the engines are and where you can find a variety of other components such as the coolers, power plants. This helps keep the ship not only kind of interesting and unique feeling as you move around it, but it also makes it very space efficient. Now, in speaking to Gurmik, he mentioned that his least favorite part of working on the Vanguard was having to stop working on it. He said that this is one of his favorite ship interiors that he's worked on since he's been at Cloud Imperium because it was so creative. And there were also a lot of reference materials and ideas for what Aegis ships were going to look like, which made it really easy and less stressful to concept. He's excited, however, to be moving on to the variants. That's it for this week, guys. Thank you for joining me on Ship Shape. Back to you.
Thank you, Lisa. That's it for Around the Verse, but Star Citizen soldiers on.
There will be no Around the Verse next week as we will all be en route to Cologne for Gamescom. However, we will be live streaming that event, which is on the Friday night, and we will also have 2,000 people there, so we look forward to seeing all you guys there in person who are going, and we may have a little video filler just in case you miss us on that Thursday.
I'll miss us. And moving on.
Wow.
And now it's time for the all-new MVP award.
Envelope, please. Thank you.
And the winner is...
Drum roll, please. Goose!
Goose! Goose is receiving the MVP award for his just utterly fantastic 300i feedback thread where he has gone into exquisite detail about what needs to change about the ship, what to meet its original roles. As we're looking at revamping the 300i series, or 300 series right now, it's a big help to us here in the studio. We can't say we'll make every change he proposes, but it is one heck of a thread. We'd like to give you guys advance notice of a contest we're going to be kicking off here on ATV in the coming weeks after Gamescom is over. We, as you all know, we're looking for concept artists here at CIG, and a lot of the time we find our best talent comes from the community. So we're going to be kind of doing a mini TNGS with character designs. We're going to be asking people to do character concept artwork, modeling, and so on, and the winner will get a fantastic prize. What is that fantastic prize, Sandy?
It is an Idris Corvette.
That's a heck of a ship.
So if you're familiar with character design, rigging, the CryEngine, and the like, then start thinking.
We'll be telling you more about that in a coming episode.
And we wouldn't leave you without an art sneak peek, so here it is. Check it out.
Sure to tune in to Reverse the Verse tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific on Twitch. We'll talk about the art sneak peek and all other Star Citizen stuff.
Thank you to subscribers for making this show possible. As always, we will see you around the verse.
And in Cologne!
Yay!